really proud of my girls today. Their defense was insane, and defense creates offense, and I feel like we were the epitome of that today, and I was really happy with how they came to play, their effort, their energy, their focus, especially in a kids' game. It was awesome.
Coach, what was your game plan against Keneally? Is that how you pronounce it?
We were gonna just guard her as a team. Like nobody could let her go off, and it wasn't just one person. It was everybody coming together. Obviously, Smiler started on her, and she was on her most of the time, but everybody knew where she was on the court at all times, and just coming together for team defense.
Obviously on a 7-game win streak right now, getting hot at the right time, conference play. Talk about kind of what's gone into this recent stretch of success, winning these double-digit games, dominating the conference. Talk about that.
We talked about it as a team this week because I kind of felt a lull in practice and what we were doing. So we just talked about what characteristics we were made out of, and a lot of that comes with their hard work and their grit and their toughness, and that was evident today.
It was Kids Day. Record crowd today, by the way. I don't know if you guys heard.
Yeah.
Most fans ever at a game. It was pretty cool. But talk about maybe what it's like to play in front of so many just screaming kids. Like, is that challenging for you on the court? Does it make it harder to communicate? I mean, it's obviously something unique, but talk about just maybe how that is to be on the court for that.
It was definitely a unique thing because we don't have kids game very often. But I think like when you're in the game, you just kind of tone it out. There were a couple times where they scream so loud that it's like, oh. But I mean, it's fun to play in that atmosphere just because there's so many people, whether or not they're kids or not. Like it's just fun to have that many people cheering for you. So.
And what has it been like as a team, kind of building this defensive identity that you guys have seemed to build?
Yeah, so we focus on defense a lot in practice, and I really like that because I think when we're together on defense, it helps us on offense stay together. And when you play one-on-one defense, it doesn't really work out because you got to help here, help there. Like you have to play together, and I think helping on defense and playing together creates that like cohesiveness on offense and gets us going. So.
With how much the team changed from last year to this year, what was the challenge of just like building that chemistry day in and day out as you guys have kept focusing on the defensive end?
I think our chemistry has definitely gotten a lot better just over however many practices we've had so far. Like we play together every single day. Like we've been learning. I know like where to pass to Lauren, where Nani's gonna be on the flare, where like you just kind of pick things up of where like how people play. And so I think that has just been really good for us to all kind of like learn how each other plays, and then we just play together a lot better when we know that. So.
Building off of that, you've turned that into a lot of success recently here in conference, particularly being able to win a bunch of games. Mm-hmm. How has that been to get rewarded for that progress, that growth that you were talking about?
It's definitely a good feeling, just because we work so hard every day, and so it's taking our hard work in practice and coach's practice plans and everything that we learn that she teaches us, and then using it in the game. It just kind of like fuels you even more. It gives you more energy because you're like, yes, we're doing it. Like we practiced that yesterday, and here it is. Like we stopped him on that play that we just practiced. So just kind of those things like get you going too.
When you say you focus on defense in practice in particular, what does that look like? Like how does that kind of go specifically? Does that mean a lot of extra sprints, like a lot of press? Like is there tons of conditioning involved in that, I imagine? Or what does that kind of look like?
I mean, we definitely run in practice. Just we got to stay in shape, but it's less like lines, and we do a lot of drills, like full court drills, which I really like because this team was a really good transition team, and we had scouted them like, hey, they score in the first 10 seconds, like we've got to get back, and so I think that really helped us. So in practice, like we have our little team that we play against that does their exact personnel, like, hey, they're gonna transition super quick, so you guys need to too, and just going over that in like multiple days in a row. It just really helps us like ingrain it in our brains almost to like, hey, this is what they're gonna do, and now we're ready for it. So we like kind of play defense like that.
Coach, how much progress have you seen in the last like 3 games when it comes to turnovers?
We still had 17 today. So I would say yes.
It was like 12 the game before, and then 10 I think before that. So
So we're getting a little better. I mean, it's a huge stress that we stress in practice, like to take care of the ball. And we I've tried to talk to them, like, when they get sped up, that's the time that they turn the ball over, right? Or they're not reading the defense, they're just trying to force things, and that is always the case. Like, if they take away a back, or if they take away a post entry, it's gonna be the skip, or it's gonna be something else. So we have to, I think they're getting better and better of reading what's being thrown at them, whether they're switching or bluing or icing or whatever the defense is throwing at us. So, and consistently, we do that every single day in practice. Like, I put a segment of every defense I think defensively minded that I could throw at us. So then we do that, so that hopefully in practice we get better.
Those were my bad, sorry. My bad.
During the first period, there was a stretch where USF had a 9-0 run, and then you guys flipped it around to be a 9-0 run right afterwards. What do you think were the key aspects to turn that around in BYU's favor?
I think we started too fast. Like, we were sped up from the very beginning, and so once we settled in, I think Lowe missed her first 3 shots, and then she went 12 for 13 the rest of the game, right? So it's just settling in sometimes. And we don't ever want that 9-0 run, so we got to make sure that we're, as a team, like, that's another thing of experience. We got to take care of that from the beginning, because that will put you behind the 8 ball against really, really good teams.
I think I'm kind of guilty of this too, but like she was saying before, sometimes we get sped up on like our passes, and I think sometimes we just predetermine where we're gonna pass, like she said. But also like in the post, like me and Lauren sometimes like get to that point where it's like, okay, we're gonna go to the middle this time. Or like, so I feel like those first few, it was kind of like we were like, okay, we're gonna go here, and then after we just settle in for a minute, it's just kind of like reading where they are, and that's when you make your moves a lot better. So.
Coach, you're never going to be satisfied, obviously, that's part of the job. There's always something nitpick, but as you've seen the evolution of this team and the growth, where they're at now, are you liking the direction? Are you liking how you're seeing all of the pieces coalesce and kind of come together more and more as the season's progressing?
Yeah, I feel like, and I talked to him this week about we're only as good as our last game or what we're stepping into, right? And so one game at a time mentality. What we just finished at Pepperdine wasn't so hot. Like, it wasn't pretty. And it was a win, but it wasn't pretty, right? The way they started at LMU, the first half was amazing, and the second half was not good. And so stringing together, and I feel like they haven't even reached their potential yet. So, like, stringing together 4 quarters, and, like, today was probably 3.5 quarters, you know, and so I'm still, like, we got to get a whole game. We got to be able to do that. And there's little things that we work on every single game. Something else manifests itself that we have to go back to work on. And it's hard when you have a quick turnaround in the WCC. So Mondays are all about us days. And so I just take those type of days and we work on things that I see throughout the last 2 games that we really need to dial into. And hopefully, like, we keep progressing and trending upward.
That's got to excite you in some ways, I imagine, knowing that, like, seeing all that you're seeing and knowing that this team still hasn't met its potential, even while, you know, stringing together a couple of wins and stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, these ladies have so much potential, and I feel like they're finally starting to put that out there for the rest of the world to see. But we see it day in and day out of practice, right? And so when they put it all together, it's crazy what they can do, and I'm just waiting for that moment.